Hello there everyone and welcome to the 4th episode of my KingKraft Let's Play series thingy, mobby, doodad, what's it? Bugs here as well.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of Pete Builds a Doomhouse Windmill, while I carry the conversation for 20 minutes.
The Doomhouse, really.
I don't know, it might as well be. It is a Doom build.
True, I'll give you that. Ooh, my throat's actually a bit dry. Probably should have a drink before I started this. Oh well.
Yeah, you probably should have, but hell, we're not professionals.
Nah, wish we were. I like money.
I like to be a professional or something.
I really wish I'd taken advantage of that one time where I was suddenly getting loads of views. But no, I had uni work to take care of.
Yeah, life commitments, damn it. Okay, so let's get away from life in general and discuss video games and what we'll be doing in this video game today.
Oh, I'm going to be finishing off this here windmill. They should already see me starting to build. I got most of it done yesterday. Great. And well, yeah, we're going to finish it off. Well, I'll maybe do a little bit of the detail a little bit later on. And there's a zombie below the windmill. Where's he come from? He must have come from the cave. Can you seal up that cave? Just stop he's walking up from there.
I guess.
Especially after what happened yesterday where I died.
Jumped into a hole. I can't be held accountable for you jumping into a hole.
Sure you can.
Okay.
What is this? What is that?
Nothing. My NVIDIA GeForce just kind of loaded up and put me out of full screen for a second.
Well, it's not good.
No, it's fine now. Everything is fine.
That normally means something is wrong.
Yeah, usually, but let's gloss over that. So, you've been playing quite a bit of Dark Souls 2 recently, haven't you?
Yep, it's currently been my main game of choice. I've been whacking away at it bit by bit.
You kind of followed the trend for me, because I think I played Dark Souls 2 about maybe a couple of months ago now.
Yep.
From beginning to end, Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been on my games list for God knows how long now. I've had it sitting there on the 360 version, but I decided to buy the Scholar of the First Sins edition and start playing through it at last.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're both a little bit late to the party with Dark Souls 3 virtually around the corner.
Yep. But then again, it's technically the best time.
Yeah, because it kind of gets you hyped for the next iteration. I mean, so how have you been finding it?
Well, as you very nicely pointed out to me earlier, I've been making the game nice and hard for myself.
Harder for yourself?
Yes.
It was already hard as Dark Souls. It's made to be hard. You joined the champion... I can't remember what the name of the guild is. The Champions Guild, the one that when you go to Majula at the beginning, there's like a stone just ahead from the bonfire up to the right. And even though it warns you that you're going to undertake an arduous journey in Dark Souls, which to call anything arduous is in of itself a testament to how difficult you'll be making it, you just kind of clicked it anyway. And
I thought it was flavor text. Should have known better.
Hey, if Dark Souls does one thing, it doesn't mince its words.
Well, I know that now. So yeah, when I go back on it, it's probably tomorrow now, I'll be leaving that Covenant instantly. Though it very much explains why I have not been seeing enemies despawn like you had been mentioning they do.
Yeah, you know, I've actually got to be honest about something. I'm not 100% sure you can leave that Covenant.
I fucking hope I can. I know there's an abandoned Covenant option with the cat, so I really hope that I can.
You better hope that I'm taking the piss.
I do not want to start that again. I mean, I enjoy it, but I don't want to start it again. Not yet.
But, Yeah, I mean, as I say, I played it a few months ago. You've been going mostly for a melee build, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I tend to go for melee with a decent amount of endurance and I think it's poise, so I can move around quite quickly.
Yeah, I think I literally went the polar opposite of that. I was mage. Didn't put anything into health from sort of starting off, and I think I powered most of it into faith, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I actually ended up putting a little bit into vitality for the stamina regen, because it costs stamina to cast spells, and well, having stamina regen's handy because you can get that back a bit faster and also I got the is it like the Grand Lake shield quite early on, which has 100% physical damage reduction.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's... Oh, have you got that shield?
I'm not too sure off the top of my head. Also, I don't know half the shields that I have, I just kind of go with one that looks decent.
I sort of tried to do it properly, but I mean, I think I'm not so much a glass cannon as I am a glass slingshot. I'm reasonably effective, but I can tell that they just have probably been nerfed a little bit since Dark Souls 2 came out. I mean, my thing magic's always been reasonably powerful. But yeah, you've had quite a few entertaining, interesting experiences with that game, I think. At least from what you were telling me.
Had the ups and had the downs. Had plenty of downs.
Sounds about right.
So many instances of losing 20,000 plus souls just because simple mistakes, and then get impatient trying to retrieve them and I end up dying again. And permanently losing them.
Right. Come back to me when you've lost 200,000 souls because you got stabbed in the back right on top of collecting them.
I'll try not to let that happen.
Try not to let that happen. It's about as fun as it sounds.
Yeah, not very.
Oh, that's Dark Souls. Jeez. And yeah, so as I said, Dark Souls will be right around the corner, so yeah, very good time to play it. What do you make of the story of that game so far? I mean, sort of like the Souls series has always been quite deliberately vague of its storytelling, but kind of provides quite a lot of sort of lore through the flavor text.
It's hard to make heads and tails of it, to be honest. In a lot of cases, it's kind of a grand epic storytelling, but you're just kind of viewing it like from the outside rather than necessarily really getting a full feel of exactly what's happened.
Yeah, to be honest with you, in Dark Souls 1, I kind of just felt like the cleaner. I was just kind of like going up after the party had ended, just kind of taking out the trash. That's how Dark Souls 1 felt for me. It didn't feel like you were doing a service to the world as such, despite sort of what the serpents were telling you. You were just basically kind of just a cog in the machine to continue the cycle of light and dark.
And speaking of cycle, from what I've heard, Dark Souls 3 is going to be the last of our Dark Souls games, so I wonder how they're going to break the cycle.
Or if they'll break the cycle.
Well, if it's going to be the last, I don't imagine it means that they're going to somehow break the cycle.
I could see it going either way just because of the fatalistic tone the series has taken up until this point. I do see what you mean now. I mean, that would be the kind of ending I'm hoping for. But sort of well, actually, you won't know yet because you've not completed
Yeah, don't give me any spoilers.
But you can sort of like tell by playing it that it's kind of got a similar tone to the first game.
Well, the entire theme for the Dark Souls games is repetition. Definitely think they got some inspiration from the Wheel of Time, though. Which is the book series I'm reading. Really enjoying it as well.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. You seem to talk really highly of it.
It's just hit the right boxes with me. Kind of hard to explain why exactly, though.
So have you had any particular bosses you've really disliked in that game so far?
Bosses I have disliked. Let's think. I've not had any that have ultimately given me all that much of an issue. I've been able to get through them ultimately.
How about the Ruined Sentinels?
Well, they're the ones I'm kind of up to at the moment. But yeah, they have been giving me some trouble just because, well, fighting more than one of them at once is a bit of a pain in the ass.
Actually, just speaking of fighting more than one enemy at a time, do you remember the 4 kings from the first game?
4 kings.
You fight them in the abyss. Kind of like you jump down into a dark pit.
To be honest, that just kind of explains several areas of that game.
you literally jump into a black void, like hundreds of feet. I think it's pretty memorable.
Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't remember.
Jeez, useless.
It's been about 2 years. No, 2 to 3 years since I last played it.
Hey, it's been more than that for me.
I
remember it. I remember it. Actually, if you're interested in lore of Dark Souls, have you ever heard of somebody called Vati Video?
Doesn't ring a bell.
I would definitely check his videos out. Like, even though a lot of it's kind of speculation into the lore of Dark Souls, I think in terms of Dark Souls lore, he's kind of the go-to guy.
I've got to be honest, pretty much everything to do with the Dark Souls lore has got to be speculation. There's left vague enough, so you can't really make any solid answers for the most part, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, any sort of concrete explanations for why the world the way it is. But I mean, he puts across some really interesting hypotheses about what's going on.
Might have to look him up.
Yeah, sort of like a free plug for that guy, I guess.
Are you going to be buying Dark Souls 3 straight away, or are you going to wait a little bit?
I don't really buy games straight away anymore. I mean, suppose really that's kind of more of a time thing than anything else.
I might buy it straight away, but that's because I might be going for one of the limited editions. I might see how much the statue editions are going to cost.
I'm thinking about it definitely, just because I know it's a game I'll definitely want to play when it comes out.
Generally, I just like to have a statue edition of a game. I've only got one statue edition so far, and that's Batman Arkham City. Which is a really good game in my opinion, but I would just like another game that I actually have the statue for.
Yeah, in fact, have you played Arkham Knight yet?
I have started it, yes, but it's not really catching me.
Yeah, I can understand why.
In particular, the driving parts really turn me away. I just don't enjoy them.
Batmobile sections?
Yeah.
They focus on the Batmobile way too heavily in that game, in my opinion. I mean, I know it's great you've got the Batmobiles, you've kind of got all of the Batman iconography in one game now, but it's just... it's not what makes the experience feel complete. I think the gameplay kind of reached its peak with Arkham City.
I definitely agree there.
I mean, I actually really enjoy... I mean, part of me really dislikes the first game just because of how... I know it's a weird word to use, but how intimate it was. I mean, you were kind of confined to an environment and you didn't have open world exploration, but it just kind of made you feel more embedded in the conflict that was going on there.
I definitely agree with that. When I originally...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I originally played Arkham City, I didn't take to it because you were just kind of thrown into the city after the little thing with Penguin. I just kind of felt it was a bit displaced compared to the first one, where it was straight, get you on a path, if you know what I mean.
I think Arkham Asylum felt more chaotic to me because you take the Joker into the asylum and you know that something's going to happen. I mean, it was way too easy to get him in there, and you're there from the beginning of the crisis to the end of it. You're actually watching this whole mad situation unfold before you, but in Arkham City, it doesn't really feel the same in that respect. There isn't sort of like, you know, something bad's going on, but it's not as spontaneous, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And you can believe that what happens in Arkham City happens over the course of Arkham Asylum happens over the course of a single night, whereas all the events that happen in Arkham City feel like they would take place over maybe a few days.
The thing is, once I got into Arkham City, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. It's just that initial getting into it just didn't feel right for me.
Yeah, I mean, I did as well. It's just, in my personal opinion, I just found sort of Arkham Asylum to be just more immersive and easier to get into.
I've got to be brutally honest, I found Arkham Origins shit.
Yeah, I would agree.
I was so disappointed by the story of that game.
Well, the problem
I like the stuff with Bane towards the end, but the Joker shouldn't have been in it. I mean, he was all over the advertising, and that kind of ruined the surprise. As soon as you see the kind of projection, you know instantly that it's him. And all of a sudden, the whole thing with Black Mask being the villain, well, that's just out the window.
Well, because he isn't the villain, really.
Yeah. That really disappointed me, though, because I thought, alright, we're going to have someone else have a chance to shine. And then it turned out being false.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never actually got to the end of Arkham Origins, if you remember.
I did.
My game save corrupted before I got a chance.
I
never
did.
Played it again.
I got through it, and then my save data corrupted.
Hey, at least you got to the end.
Yes, I did at least get to finish it.
I mean, I could go back to it. I mean, the game... I would probably enjoy the game enough, but... I don't know, it's like you, I don't... This is why I say that I believe Arkham City was the peak of the series, because I think everything after then was kind of a bit iterative. They didn't... I mean, I know they kind of like put in a couple of things here and there with Arkham Knight, but I don't really think Arkham Origins really did anything to contribute anything new to the franchise. Except for kind of retelling the story of Batman's second year? The Christmas?
I think it was about that, yeah.
Was it his first or second? I can't remember.
I think it was the second.
I know it's very early on in his career. But, but speaking of having a different villain for the game, how are you taking to Scarecrow?
I've not gone really far enough into it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm not finding him anywhere near as enjoyable as I did in Arkham Asylum.
I think I'm in two minds about Scarecrow because I actually really like his character design a lot more than the Scarecrow in the original, but they just kind of did a complete 180 with his personality.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at him in Arkham Asylum, compare him to Arkham Knight. He is literally the opposite in almost every way. I mean, just kind of monotonal. I mean, he's probably as far as from theatrical as he could possibly be. I mean, I do acknowledge that the reason they did this is to kind of show how his experience with Killer Croc affected him. That sort of it traumatized him traumatized him and molded him to the point where it kind of just completely alters his personality. But I think what he kind of lacks, which I think is what the Joker brought to the game, especially again in Arkham Asylum, is sort of that theatrical side, which kind of complements, well, Batman's rather, what's the word I'm looking for?
Brooding nature.
Yes, exactly. That is the word I'm looking for. It's the end of the working day. I'm quite tired. I'm not as articulate as I could be. So thank you for your help there. But yeah. And what do you think of the Arkham Knight himself?
Only seen him so much so far. Yeah, not really impressed.
Who do you think it is? Who could possibly be under that mask?
One of the Robins. I tell you. It's Thingy Al Ghul.
Talia al Ghul?
Tell you, that's the one, yeah. That was the one I was thinking of.
I'm not going to confirm or deny anything.
But yeah, basically those two are my first guesses because they're the most likely ones to know Alfred. Well, not Alfred, who Oracle is.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense for me to think immediately, oh, it's going to be one of the Robins.
Yeah, I'll let you figure out. I've got to be honest, I think they could have done a better job of concealing their identity.
So am I close?
Just say anything.
I'm going to say that's a maybe.
No, you're fine. I mean, the game is over a year old, so I don't really know if it's sort of for anyone. Well, looking, it'll be a spoiler, but I won't tell you. But, yeah, I just... in fact, how far into the game are you?
I've just been to some... I think it might have been a power plant of some kind. Rescued a few hostages.
Was it Ace Chemicals, or...?
I honestly don't know. It has been about a month and a bit since I played it last.
Oh boy, that isn't good.
Yeah, that's how ultimately disinterested I am with the game.
Yeah, I mean, there are parts of that. I mean, once I actually got into it a bit more, I did enjoy it, but I think the DLC for that game especially was just a bit of a joke, to be quite honest with you.
I've not got any of the DLC, I don't know if I ever will. But I've been looking at the season pass stuff and it just seems really crap.
I mean, to be honest, just because I like the game franchise so much, I did get like all of the story DLC, but from someone who's played it, I wouldn't say it's worth it. Just because the segments are just so short. I mean, I know you're only paying maybe about £1, £2 for each, but they kind of really make you feel that you're getting exactly what you paid for. It doesn't feel like they kind of went out of their way to give you more, to give you the value for money. I mean, you probably can clear the content in... I mean, I think one of them you can clear it in about 10 minutes if you wish. Maybe less. In the longest one, I think, is the last one they released, Season of Infamy, which actually adds a few more missions to the main game, which, to give them the credit, they do actually add quite a bit of gameplay. If you're kind of playing through the game already, I would definitely say that's worth having, just because it just gives you a few more side missions to do. But, again, you just kind of hope they would do a little bit more. Just to kind of show, to kind of reward long-time fans for the loyalty. Especially since it's kind of the last Batman game of the trilogy.
I gotta be honest, in general, DLC seems to be pretty crap lately, for the most part.
Well, just lately?
Well, lately in particular.
Yeah,
As for finding DLC, just seems to be a lot more just simply pumped out content. It doesn't actually have the effort put into it that it would seem to used to in some cases.
I mean, it's almost as if correct me if I'm wrong, like the season pass is kind of almost compulsory practice now, and developers, publishers probably feel the need to shell out this content just to kind of keep competitive with the rest of the market.
The thing is, I feel it makes them uncompetitive to just giving crap. mean, look at Halo 5 as an example I'm going to use. That's done a great job of providing after-release content. I know you've not really been playing it too much since its initial release.
I don't know why I didn't, to be honest with you, because I was actually enjoying campaign. I think Warzone just put me off quite a bit.
Yeah, I can understand why.
I mean, maybe I should give it another chance. I think it's a mixture of that and just not really, not having that much time to play it properly. And there's other games I want to play.
Well, there is going to be a firefight mode introduced into it, by the way.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
But I think the rec card's going to be used in it, though. It's called Warzone Firefight, if I remember right.
I mean, maybe that won't be too bad, because it's cooperative. It's kind of... I don't know, I'd have to actually see, I guess, but... I think it's just the rec system in general. I think they just didn't really need to do that.
Yeah.
You know, just speaking of Halo 5, I've actually seen quite a few people that criticise the story.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I'm pretty much one of those people. It was ultimately a letdown for what I wanted.
Yeah, I've got to admit, when we played the game at the time, I think it's one of those that you kind of had to take a step back from it to kind of really assess how good it was. I don't know. I mean, I think they've kind of put it in a position now where they could really swing it one way or the other.
If they do release story DLC, I'm probably going to buy it simply because of how they've handled the multiplayer DLC, where it's all been essentially free.
I probably will as well. I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of wish they would have maybe have explained why the Arbiter's in a civil war a bit more rather than gloss over it. Because, I mean, that story arc in the books is actually quite interesting.
God, that annoyed me so much that they just killed off that character.
Don't kill Joel and Dharma like that. You had he was in 2 of the bloody Kilo 5 books. Okay, maybe he wasn't as prominent in the first one, but I mean...
He was a big deal. He was important. Don't just throw him off to the side like, eh.
Well, I mean, I think so. I actually had someone sort of sum it up perfectly. They killed Joel and Dharma just to show how much of a badass Locke was, so we would like him.
Yeah.
It didn't work. It was just, I think, to be honest, Osiris was the biggest thing for me that was wrong with the story.
Yeah.
It just had no personality for me. I mean, the only one who kind of really was, you know, you looked forward to seeing was Buck.
Yep.
And that was only because he was already established in ODST. I mean, I think the other ones were called Vale and Tanaka. I think.
Honestly, I would have said that. Thingy. He was the only one that actually had character.
Yeah, I mean, Locke just kind of just seemed like your average stoic soldier was like, I'm not a hero, but actually I am. I don't know, I mean, that's just kind of like how his character felt to me. And I think they could have handled Cortana a bit better in hindsight.
I agree. I would like to have had more variation in the boss fights, definitely.
I don't think it should have been so obvious from the off that she just gone completely cuckoo.
Though I will say that I'm glad to see boss fights make a return.
Yeah, but just not when you're fighting the same guy every time.
Yeah, I would prefer a variation.
Yeah, it's just sort of like, oh, it's the boss fight. That's the fucking Warden Eternal. Except now there's 3 of them. That's kind of like how I reacted to those fights. They kind of just I mean, I think the boss fights in Halo, I mean, in fact, was that the only other Halo game with boss fights?
Halo 2 is the only other one with boss fights in.
Yeah. I mean, do you count Guilty Spark in Halo 3?
No, I do not count Guilty Spark in Halo 3. And no, I do not count the Scarabs.
Yeah, that wasn't really a thing.
Honestly, it's my biggest complaint with Halo 3 and the games after it that there weren't boss fights, because Even if the boss fights weren't that great in Halo 2, I like their existence there.
Actually, just speaking of the Halo books, I'm almost at the end of Moradacta now. Dicta, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, I've really taken my time, but...
It's alright, I'm 2 books behind at the moment, myself.
Which book are you on?
I think it was one to do with the Covenant side of things that I was focusing on. I can't remember what his name is. And the other one is Last Light, even, sorry. Which I've got right in front of me, I've just not read yet because I'm reading the Wheel of Time books.
So, what are those stories then?
I don't really know too much.
When you say the Covenant side of things, do you mean sort of focusing more on...
if I remember right from the write-up, it covers the Covenant's... Well, the Covenant side of the split. A bit more deeply.
To be honest, I would have liked to have seen that because you kind of get a little bit of that in the Kilo 5 trilogy from the Sangheili sides. We don't really see it from anybody else's. You kind of get a little bit of impression of what sort of are happening to the Kigya in Moradacta, but as for anyone else, I actually don't know.
And by the way, I believe this is finished.
Yay!
Could do with a little bit more detail, but I ran out of oak.
I'm about halfway across the island from building the wall. Progress has been made. GG. Okay, so you think we're wrapping it up there then?
Yeah, I say we'll wrap it up there. I forgot to time the episode again, so yeah, we'll wrap it up here. I feel it's probably been about half an hour-ish.
Probably.
I forgot to put a torch up there, actually. I'll fix that in a minute. Fix it up off camera. So, well...
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you for watching, and, well, we'll squid you later. Buggy, you got something behind you. Is that a sheep? It's a sheep.
It's not gonna kill me.
Kill the invader.
Yeah. I hoped.
You distracted it from me.
Very good.
Did you not go down into the water as well? No, you did not.
They can't jump over that, can they?
Well, no, but it kind of looks nicer. If you put it all the way down.
Well, can I not just do the top half and then just...
Oh yeah, you can. Just saying. Just criticising.
Next time?
Just criticising.
Constructive criticism.
Sure, why not?
I'll do it down into the water, sorry, I just wanted to replace the border.
Fair enough. And
Do
well,
you think it...
we'll leave it there before we end up talking on for another 10 minutes.
Oh, I didn't realise we were still going.
Yes, we are still going.
Okay.
Anything left to leave on?
Please make it end.
Okay.